We are going to stay on this story. I want to welcome retired U.S. Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery. He is a senior fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies and joins us now from Washington, D.C. Good to have you with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
I want to ask you first, from a naval perspective, is the Strait of Hormuz functioning essentially as an international waterway, or has it become a contested military zone?
Well, normally it's an international waterway, and then throughout the 40 days of the war, the Iranians applied enough pressure, enough threats that international shipping was uncomfortable coming through, which I fully understand. And the United States worked hard to knock down those threats by hitting missile launchers, drones, small boats, and the whole Iranian Navy. Obviously, the United States did not create the conditions where merchants felt safe. As we got into the ceasefire, again, there was an opportunity for it to be an international waterway. But first, the Iranians, by only selectively, they say they opened up the strait, but if you read the details, they were selective. Certain countries' ships could go through. Other countries, what they called belligerents, which would include most of the U.S. Arab partners and the United States and Israel, were not allowed to come through. And then the United States further blocked it through a actual blockade of Iranian ships moving out, or ships that had called at Iranian ports moving out. So because of that, it is no longer an international waterway. It is, as you stated, kind of a scene of internet right now, contested environment.
I mean, we've now seen U.S. naval forces intercept and in some cases disable or seize Iranian-linked tankers. We certainly just heard from my colleague Fred speaking about how Iran is essentially saying, Iran should be, should fall in line with other international law. From your perspective, when it comes to maritime law, is the U.S. risking any laws right now?
I don't think so, because this is a response, right? The initial blockage, and as you all covered a few days ago, the Iranians fired on British, French, and before that, Indian merchant ships. And in fact, over the last 40 days, fired on almost a dozen and damaged seriously almost a dozen merchant ships, sinking some. So, I mean, that's the original effect. And when they made it clear they were not going to allow transit passage through the international waterway of all ships inside in the Arabian Gulf, then the United States applied the blockade. So look, neither one of these is optimal, but I don't believe the United States is violating international law, because we declared what we were doing and we're enforcing it directly.
So right now, as it stands, what's your assessment of the risk that a commercial vessel or a naval ship or a patrol unit misreads the situation and we see a dramatic escalation here?
So I don't think there's a risk of a dramatic escalation. There is a risk of a continuation of these. I don't think merchant ships are going to risk going through the straits right now with the rule sets that Iranians have applied. And I think now that we've disabled the one ship, I don't think Iranian ships will further attempt to run the blockade. So I think that part, it's stabilized in a very uncomfortable position. And then it's up to the negotiations the ceasefire negotiations to resolve this. Look, both countries want to come out of this saying they control the Straits of Hormuz. Iran is geographically in a great position. The United States is militarily in a great position. So between the two of them, they're going to have to agree that both of them can shut it and both of them can open it together, and that they need to agree to open it together.
Donald Trump has threatened escalation if there is no deal, threatening to take out, bridges and tankers and energy infrastructure, etc. And he said that the military is ready and prepared. What exactly does that mean? Do you see that we could get to a point later this week where there is an escalation if there is no deal?
Yes. And I do think this is initially rhetoric by President Trump, but if the negotiations go poorly, particularly if the Iranians no-show, he has a lot of options. U.S. Central Command, Admiral Cooper and General Kane, his chairman of the Joint Chiefs, will offer him solutions that go from restoring 500 strikes a day, where we were on the last day of bombing, to something much more targeted, at very specific, Strait of Hormuz opening attacks. In other words, a more targeted 40 or 50 strikes. I'm hoping that they would go for the lower end of that, because if you restart this at the high end, I think it's going to be some period of weeks or months before you're back at the negotiating table. But if you're a small targeting package, it's very specific. I think that'd be valuable. And of course, if bridges are attacked or power plants are attacked, they have to have a legitimate military value. I'm comfortable that Central Command and General Kane will ensure that's the case, and it will not be attacks on purely civilian targets.
Do you think there's a clear operational end game for naval forces in the Strait of Hormuz, or do you think the U.S. is going to be there long term, no matter how this plays out in the coming weeks?
So, yeah, on both questions, yes. So the military forces aren't responsible for the strategic end game here, but operationally they understand their mission. It is pretty straightforward what's going on. The blockade plus the halting, seizing, and taking possession of Iranian ships is something we're reasonably good at, and we can functionally do. Sustaining this for months on end will be problematic, but absolutely executable. The problem will come 3-4 years from now when the U.S. Navy can't do as much as you would expect it to be able to do, because it's burned its readiness on these operations here. So this is not a short-term problem, it's a long-term problem. And I'm sure senior Navy leaders are hoping it resolves quickly.
No doubt. Retired Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery, we appreciate your time today. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.